Well, Jello again. This is Buck Benny speaking. Welcome to another episode of the Jack Benny Show. We have a really special one for you today. We have Catherine Fuller Seeley, we have John Henderson, we have Terry Phillips with us. And
Merry Christmas.
yeah, Merry Christmas, everybody. This is the famous Christmas episode that probably, if you're listening to this and if you've seen this, you've probably seen the Christmas episode. More people have seen the Christmas episode than any other episode of the Jack Benny Show by far. It's packaged a lot of times with other Christmas episodes and things, and you get to see it. I know my son has probably only seen, I don't know, 10 or 15 TV episodes, and this is one of them. And this is the one he plays. He'd mentioned it last night as we were shopping for our Christmas tree. He said, "Oh yeah," he was with his girlfriend, and he said, "Oh yeah," to her, without being it to me, just to her. He might have said it so I'd overhear it. I don't know, but he said, "Well, oh, we're gonna have to watch the Jack Benny Christmas show again, honey," and or whatever. And I was like, awesome. That is such a neat thing to pass on down. But yeah, it's a wonderful, wonderful piece, a wonderful Christmas episode. It does have an issue with it towards the end that I think we probably need to talk about. It'll be a spoiler, but I think most of you've seen it, like I said, and I do think it's what keeps it maybe from being an absolute beyond classic, or one that they would colorize for television or something like they're doing with so many old shows now and playing them at Christmas time. I don't think it'd ever get done for this reason, but we'll go with Kathy next. And Kathy, anything that pops out of this for this episode, if you want to.
Well, it reminds me what a fantastic actor Mel Blanc was, as well as a voice artist. To see because he's at the top of his form of, kind of Warner Brothers cartoons and Jack Benny Show, of making sort of sounds. But the fact that his face registers all the right things, it makes it doubly funny. And the fact that even in a filmed episode, Jack can't help himself from breaking up. Try as hard as he can, because Mel is so good in that. And I love, again, some of the little visual details that help freshen up really old skit ideas, like being able to see the loops on the bottom of the nightgown.
Yes.
Because they've been doing the loops thing since the mid '40s, right? But to see the loops, that was a nice.
Well, and the loops part, I like the actor they got to do the loops piece. In the radio, historically, for almost all of radio, I don't know if he ever didn't do it, was Elliot Lewis that would do that piece, and he would use his. They called it a Mole voice, and that. He didn't even know what it meant. He just knew that. Jack referred to it as that voice, the Mole voice, whatever it was called. And what's funny is, if you listen to interviews with Elliot, he didn't know how to pronounce it. He didn't know. He just knew that was the word that described this kind of slow, dim-witted character that he would play. I would have loved to have seen Elliot brought over for this television, but visually didn't match the character, is, I think, a huge piece of it, and so it wouldn't have worked so well, because he was just such a clean-cut, good-looking guy that you're like, okay, he doesn't really match with the voice he's doing. Anyway, John, did you have anything on this episode that's kind of stuck out to you?
Yeah, I mean, I like to start with a bit of background that we all know, but maybe not everybody watching knows, especially since this is probably the most likely a Jack Benny episode for a new person to click on and watch. Yeah. And that is, for years and years on radio, Jack Benny has been doing a thing where he goes out to a department store and he goes shopping, right? But this episode is sort of the culmination of all of those episodes. So they take, pick and choose the best bits from all of those Christmas shopping episodes and put them together into this episode, which of course is, for good reason, a classic and one of the best Jack Benny episodes there is. Like, I thought it was so great.
Yep, I agree. Well, and from what I've read, and actually through Kathy's books now, hopefully we'll get a chance to experience the first Christmas shopping episode. I believe in 33, maybe, he did a version of some sort of Christmas shopping, or a little bit. I assume it was a very small bit in it. but that's sort of the gestation of this, and it becomes a bigger and bigger thing. And really, in I believe 37 was the first year where they really had an actual Christmas shopping episode that was very similar to this one that you're going to watch today. And then
Yeah.
with new writers coming on in the mid 40s, they even jacked it up a little bit more. They kind of moved away from it a little bit in the early 40s, and then but in the mid 40s they really grabbed it, and they did was they grabbed it and they threw in Frank Nelson and Mel Blanc, who are both in this episode. And that really catapulted it to a whole nother stratosphere. Before that, they had those two guys in it at different times, but not necessarily doing the parts we're sort of used to them doing, or not as extreme as we're used to it. Once they started doing it pretty extreme in the mid 40s, like I say, each year they would just fine tune it. And what we get here is a really fine tuned episode that's got all the best bits. I love the fact that you don't on television get this as much as you do in radio, but this really presents it for us in a concrete way. That Jack was so giving, and they describe that all the time in his cast. He was willing, he didn't have to take all the funny lines himself. He didn't have to take all the bits himself. There are bits in here that are the funniest bits, or can be. I think the bit I probably enjoy the most is Rochester talking to a clerk that we're not used to hearing. And so I would have preferred if it was one of the clerks that we're used to hearing, but that's okay. They do a really good piece where they're describing what Jack Benny is and trying to figure out what gift to get for him. And the closing piece of that is so perfect, so funny. It describes Benny for decades, and to have Rochester do it is so perfect because he's worked with Jack for so long that this is like a payoff to decades worth of Jack and Rochester bits, and I love it. The Dennis Day piece where he's working with a different clerk and they're going through things. Now he has some overlap with Jack and not Mary, but Jack stops by and like talks to him for a second. So there's a little overlap with Jack, but he does have his own kind of separate bit with this clerk, and it's a very good bit as well. So that's awesome. And Jack so often let his supporting characters carry the weight of the comedy and allow that to happen. A lot of people wouldn't do that. So John, what's something to say about that?
I have to admit, Buck, that like your son, I've probably only seen 10 or 15 episodes of the Jack Benny television show. I've heard hundreds of the radio show, but one thing that I loved about this one that I hadn't seen in many other episodes is that Dennis Day sings. And I don't know if he does sing in a lot of other episodes, but this is the first time I'd seen it.
Okay. He sings in quite a few episodes. Usually when they feature Dennis, probably 60-70% of the time he's on the episode, he is going to sing as well. I do think in the syndication package they probably cut out the song a lot of the time,
right?
But so he probably sings more than we were even would normally think he sings. If you looked it up in the books, you'd go, oh wait, he did sing in this episode, but they cut it. So so that's that piece. So a lot of it you get in the live shows. When Dennis is appearing on a live show, you're probably going to get a song. But there's a song in this, and it's we'll give it away. It's Rudolph, and he does a really nice fun job. Yes, he does. And the whole bit with Don being a little kid in this episode is a funny bit. There's just a lot of funny bits in this episode. Certainly Jack has multiple bits. Yeah. The piece that I always feel like, oh darn it, is boy, I would have traded 3 or 4 Mary appearances in various episodes if I could have had her in this one, because I always thought when Jack and Mary were shopping together, it was such a funny, good, great thing. And so she's definitely sorely missed in this episode, but man, they hit the points anyway. But yeah, I miss her. Terry, what are your thoughts?
Well, I want to pay tribute to a few of the supporting actors. You mentioned the lingerie salesman, and you're right. It was not Elliot Lewis. It was Charles Cantor, who did just tons and tons and tons of radio and television. He was familiar to radio listeners as Socrates Mulligan on Allen's Alley on the Fred Allen Show.
Okay.
And he played, he was in Duffy's Tavern. He played Clifton Finnegan and just so many others. Did a lot of Jack Benny shows as well.
I know,
And
on
then-
radio, yeah.
And right on radio as well. And then I'm sure most people will recognize the face of the shirt salesman who was, which was played by
Yeah.
Richard Deacon,
Yes.
known for playing Mel on the Dick Van Dyke Show and Mr.
Yeah.
Rutherford.
Yeah.
On Leave It.
I know him as Uncle Archie on the Annette series in the Mickey Mouse Club. My kids.
Ah.
Oh, wow.
And then, you know, again, the recurring actor, Benny Rubin, the old vaudevillian who played, well, you'll only see part of his face. In fact, the thing that struck me when I first saw him come on stage was he was wearing a mask. And I don't want to say anything more about that, not to spoil it. But the first thing I thought of was, oh, that's his COVID protection.
See, this Jack is so timeless and so ahead of his time. It's just amazing, amazing. Oh, that's so funny. Well, Kathy, anything else you wanted to point out?
Well, I was gonna say the one thing I missed from not the radio episodes is the sportsman running being four of them crammed in to be the elevator boy all together and going, you know, fifth floor and then having the Lucky Strike commercial. I love that. So I have somebody on eBay was marketing a CD of they clipped sportsman's songs from the various radio episodes, and I like to play that sometimes in the car, and they always include the Christmas song in that. And so
and I've created a Christmas Jack Benny Christmas album that has a lot of the Christmas songs sung by Dennis, sung by Kenny, that I play every year on the podcast. And I just did that again last week, actually, aired it. And one of the pieces that is not a Christmas song at all is the sportsman's piece of the elevator, but it is such a good piece and it is, of course, mentioning Christmas type things like what you're going to shop for on the different floors, that I always put that one in there, and it's very popular to have in there. But really, I mean, it's not like the music is the Lucky Strike music. It's not a Christmas song that it's based on, but
it is. That's Jingle Bells.
Is it Jingle Bells that were okay?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, there you go. Excellent. And John, you have anything else for us on this one?
Yeah, I usually watch Jack Benny by myself or listen to it. My wife is very supportive of my fandom of Jack Benny, but she's not quite the same level of a Jack Benny fan that I am.
Yes.
But because this episode, you know, it's one of the most popular episodes, and we had it on DVD, we sat down and we watched it together last night. And, you know, I thought it was an interesting gauge to see how non-Jack Benny diehard fan experiences Jack Benny. And there were a few laugh out loud moments, like the Rochester one that you mentioned, Buck. And there were a couple of moments that she thought were a little bit hard to watch, like the Don Wilson commercial. She's like, oh boy. Like, I don't think that she thought it was hysterical, but more awkward. So I don't know if that's a matter of personality or if it's a matter of, you know, time. But that did make me a little bit curious. And I wonder if you guys have more information about the sponsors of Jack Benny at this time, because obviously he's doing the State Farm commercial. And then at the end, Jack Benny says, we'll be back next week for Lipton Tea.
Correct.
So I don't know if he had multiple sponsors. I don't know if you guys know what the sponsor situation was.
He alternated sponsors. So it'd be one sponsor one week and a different sponsor next week.
And it was two total?
Products. I think it was two at that point. But he was sponsored by other things over time. But I think when they were switching spots, it was those two that were switching back and forth.
Yeah, this is that moment in sort of commercial broadcast history where they're trying to sort of move away from the sole sponsorship.
Right.
You know, because it's just so expensive to put on a TV program. And indeed, Lucky Strikes had finally I had to give away Jack because they were selling fewer and fewer cigarettes. Everybody had gone toward Pall Malls, filtered cigarettes. And so they kept Benny through the 50s because there was this die-hard, coffin nail market that was smoking Luckies. But they finally had to, indeed bite the bullet. And they couldn't afford Benny's show anymore. So they had to finally give it up. And of course, we got to admit, I gotta mention I don't know, did your spouse find the gun part hard to watch?
I think that it was sort of like they would never do that today kind of thing.
Correct.
Right. And it was sort of like this strange posture where it's like, boy, I want to laugh because this is funny,
Right.
but I feel like I shouldn't laugh kind of thing.
Yeah. I think our attitudes have changed a whole lot. I'm surprised because we don't generally have characters killing themselves on Benny's radio show. But in 1932 and 1933, they do that a bit. And I think the sponsors said, please stop,
Well, and frankly, it was also not unusual Mary said it to Jack on numerous occasions. Why don't you just go kill yourself?
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's
It was so
I
seriously,
often watch,
even though it was meant to be a joke.
Yeah.
I often watch
But
Looney
there is
Tunes
something about seeing it.
Well, except we didn't see it. It happened off.
Oh yeah, no, yeah.
But
Yeah, I was gonna say on a lot of Looney Tunes episodes, the characters will kill
Yes.
themselves, and you see the whole thing right on, but it's a cartoon.
Yes. And I think they think that's because they're cartoon characters that we've
Yes.
suspended our disbelief. And certainly, this is the height of the Westerns on TV. So, as they were saying, there'd be 50 murders a night or something like that. So what's one more gun on a Jack Benny show?
Yeah.
So
Well, and John, I think, will be able to corroborate this with me. I'm not sure, but I'm 90% sure that I'm pretty sure that he does the same bit in radio, and Mel kills himself. And what's great is it's early at 50, I don't know, early 50s. And so at the years after that, I'm sure they're going, well, now what? We have a dead guy, so what do we do? And so they have I think a season where they have his wife supposedly doing this
yes,
of the character.
He's
But
gone off to the
then
mental
character
hospital.
comes back, after all of a sudden it's like he's alive again, and no one makes any big deal. I think Jack might even reference it or in a roundabout way, oh, I didn't think you could be here, or something to that effect, and that's how it's treated on radio. But for television, I will say, to me, this piece seemed almost more out of place a few years ago. Before Seinfeld, it was like, okay, this piece is really dark. But with Seinfeld, I think you get a more, because folks talk, and Jerry is a huge fan of the Jack Benny show, and you can obviously see that in Seinfeld. But you could totally see the funny bit that kind of lightens it a little bit at the end is after he kills himself, Jack is going and dealing with the cash register himself and going through that, and it's like, what a shame that the guy killed himself or whatever. And that's about all he gets from it, right? And that is totally like a Seinfeldian moment that you can see any of the characters on Seinfeld do the exact same thing that Jack is doing there, and not really care about anyone else around them. They were so in tune to themselves. And it makes that kind of work a little bit more, because you go, okay, I can see that on Seinfeld. And if I can see it on Seinfeld, then okay, I can see that happening. But
well, that's the thing I was originally thinking, because I was thinking, they would never do that these days. And it's really not the case that they would never do something like that these days. It's that you wouldn't do it on a family-friendly program.
yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, we also live in the era of disclaimers. We warn people about everything now. I'm just about to release another play on Imaginaire Theater that takes place in a war zone. And I debated and ultimately decided to warn listeners beforehand that this takes place in a violent and fatally violent environment.
Yeah.
And I think viewers and listeners have come to expect that they're going to be alerted whenever anything is presented to them that might affect their sensibilities, whether it's violence or sex or language or whatever.
I
Yeah,
should have my
but-
little TV 14 that comes up with violence on this before this one. I can't do that though. Sorry guys, I'm not that coordinated. So, this is our warning right here. So there you go. Do not continue, or at least don't watch the last 2 minutes if you're offended by
It would be a really shame if this prevented people from watching it, because the whole episode is hilarious, and the Mel Blanc stuff is probably the crowning jewel in the whole episode.
Right. Well, I will say this though, like I was mentioning, I really think that a lot of television shows recently, the last 10 years, what CBS especially has been doing is bringing back like a Christmas show of I Love Lucy or any of these classic television shows, the Dick Van Dyke Show, and colorizing it and showing it to a modern audience and using the colorization of it as a selling piece and saying, okay, we've made this special, so we're going to show it to you in a way that it's never been seen before. And I really would be surprised if they wouldn't have thought to do that with this episode of Jack. But I would assume that gunshot piece just makes it where they untenable and they can't do it. And you can't excise that piece out really, because it wouldn't make a whole lot of sense. There'd be no end really to Mel's piece. And they don't make it, because I was looking at it before and thinking, okay, if you got rid of that, could you have him just kind of going crazy as the end piece? But it really, you can tell they're going to go back to it, and so it would just seem awkward if you cut that out. But who knows? But anyway, that's my thoughts on it anyway, because if you ever do a Christmas episode that you're colorizing and bringing back, this would be the ideal one to do, except that piece. Anyway, love this episode. One of my favorite Jack Benny episodes. Certainly the Christmas shopping episodes are my favorite ones. I have toyed with the idea over the years. I've never gotten the motivation up to actually follow through, but I've been going to take the radio shows and have this huge like marathon of not the whole shows, just the shopping, and make it look like one gigantic shopping trip where they run into all these different people all get together to be like, and try the trick would be in editing, it would be like, have we heard that bit? Because I wouldn't want the same bit over again. You'd want to have each bit probably the best presentation of that bit ever, and then all the other bits. And so you'd end up with probably, I would assume, an hour and a half, 2 hours or more of this extended shopping trip where he's running into all these different people, and it would be delightful. But it's like, man, that's a lot of editing and a lot of work. I did do that with all of the New Year's fantasies, where I put them all back to back to back to back. And that was a decent amount of work putting that together, but I end up playing it every year at New Year's. I play half of it on New Year's Eve and half of it on New Year's Day, and people always seem to really enjoy it. Though, just like the shopping bits, they weren't meant to be put back to back to back because they're so repetitive, but it's still fun to hear them that way. And then there's one missing bit where my family records, we used the script and re-recorded it, and so that's in there. And then the one where Jack did it, that we played a few weeks ago, where Jack did it for television, that's in there too, and that's the last bit. And so it just makes it fun, and it just makes it fun that my family fits in there somewhere. So it's kind of cool.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah, it is really nice. Anyway, I guess we'll let them go and enjoy this, like I say, fantastic episode of the Jack Benny Show. Frank Nelson at his best, Mel Blanc at his best. I mean, just Mel, really, this is Mel's probably finest performance that he gives, just slowly disintegrating in front of our eyes, and it's beautiful. And Jack's reaction to it, and him not being able to keep it. I mean, the last parts of it, when Jack is just trying his best not to be cracking up because Mel is taking it so over the top, and tinsel hanging off. I mean, it's a mess, but a wonderful show and great performances all the way around.
Merry Christmas!
Yeah, Merry Christmas, everybody. Enjoy, and I hope you're having it. It's a weird Christmas this year, I know, but we'll make it through. And then, and like Terry says, there's actually a reference to masking and everything in this episode. So inadvertently, I would assume, or really pressing of Jack to know that.
I think it was very verdant.
Yes. So we'll see you all next week. Thank you so much.
From Hollywood, the Jack Benny Program.
Christmas shopping gets worse every year. There you are. Now put this in with that, and don't be, and see that Mr. Wilson gets it before Christmas. Won't you?
You bet I will. I'll make a beautiful package for you. Don't you worry
thanks.
about it. I'll take care of it.
Thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Now, let's see. Well, I got Don all set. Now I want to get something for Mary. I think I'll get something in the jewelry department for Mary, huh?
Oh, say, boss, do you mind if I do some of my shopping now?
No, go right ahead, and I'll see you later. Now, let's see. I wonder where the jewelry department... Oh, mister.
Yes.
Pardon me, are you the floor walker here?
Well, what do you think I am with this carnation? Afloat in the Rose Parade?
I always run in... How can you keep a job as a floor walker?
My father owns the store.
Oh, and you're working your way up, huh?
You know, I started as president. If you have a question for a floor walker, you better ask it fast.
I have no question, and I'm not going to ask anything. I'll find it myself.
Phew.
Always run into him every place. Now, let's see. I wonder where... Let's see, for Mary, I wonder where the jewelry department is. I gotta get...
The jewelry department?
Yeah.
Right over there.
Gee, I hope they still have a nice selection. Oh, there it is, over there.
How do you do, sir? Merry Christmas. May I help you?
Yes, I'd like to look at a watch, please. I want a watch.
For a man, a woman, or a dog?
Dog?
Well, this is Beverly Hills, you know.
Yeah, well, I'd like a lady's wristwatch. I don't know any dogs.
Well, we have a very large selection. Now, here's a lovely watch for $120.
Yeah, $120. Mm-hmm. How much is this one here?
Oh, that's only $12, but it's a very nice watch.
$12, huh? Oh, that's a beauty. I can hardly tell the difference here. I'll take this one here for $12.
All right, fine.
There you are. Now, wait a minute. There's 10. 1, 2, there you are. There's your $12.
Thank you.
Gee, this is I can't tell the difference. This is really a beautiful watch. Isn't it?
It certainly is, and it has an unbreakable crystal.
An unbreakable crystal. Huh?
Yes.
Well.
Here, try it out.
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, go ahead. Go on, go ahead. Hit it with the hammer and see.
Oh, well, all right.
Do you want a gift wrap?
Gift wrap? I don't want it at all. I want my money back.
Well, I'm sorry. I can't return your money.
Oh, you can't, eh? Well, I'm going to get my money back,
Well,
or there's going to be
just
some
a
trouble.
minute, just a minute. Oh, Mr. Nelson.
Yes?
Him again.
What is it, Miss Valley?
Well, this man just broke a watch with a hammer, and he wants his money back.
Well, of course I broke the watch, but she told me to.
She told you to.
Yeah.
Well, good heavens, don't you have a mind of your own?
Well, of course I've got a mind of my own. But this young lady...
Young? Why, she's 42 if she's a day.
Talking about that. Now, look, I want my money back.
Oh, all right, Miss Valance. Give him back his money before he bites somebody.
What?
You're breathing on my carnation.
Oh, get out of here.
There you are. What a sore loser.
Well, this is certainly a fine store to do business with.
You walked in, Lotus Blossom. Nobody dragged you.
Oh, quiet. Well, couldn't get a gift for Mary. Anyway, I got Don all set. Now, let's see. Oh, I don't know, that card I sent to Don. I don't know. It didn't seem dignified enough for Christmas. I think I'll change the card. Oh, clerk.
Yes, sir?
Look, I'm the fellow who was here just a little while ago. I bought that $40 wallet.
Yeah.
You remember that? Well, I'd like to change the card.
But mister, I already got it wrapped with ribbon and tinsel and little bells and holly.
Yeah, I know, but I'm sorry. But look, I'm sorry, but you'll have to unwrap it because I want to change the card.
But mister, look.
Look, please, I'm a customer. Now unwrap it.
Oh, all right. But it's so pretty. It's a dirty shame.
I know.
Such a nice ribbon and everything.
Yeah, I know. I just have to change the card.
Yeah, I like the card you had in
Yeah,
the
but I have to change it.
I thought it was very witty. All right.
Now, this is much better. To Don, a very Merry Christmas from Jack. Huh? All right, now, put this in with the gift and wrap it.
Yeah, I'll wrap it. Good. A very original card to Dawn, a very Merry Christmas.
May I help you, young man?
Help me?
Yes, you've been standing in front of this counter for 10 minutes.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm confused.
Well, that's understandable. You're confused because it's Christmas time, because you have the Christmas spirit. You're buying Christmas presents, and there's so many different things to look at.
Well, that explains why I'm confused in December, but what about the other months?
I wouldn't know. I'm standing behind this counter because in a moment of wild enthusiasm, I sold my pants.
Well, see, I got to buy something for my mother and father, and gosh, I don't know what to get them.
Well, maybe I can help. Looking at you, I can just picture your mother. Small, petite, gentle, with a kindly smile for everyone. Spends most of the time sitting in a rocking chair knitting.
That's my father. Now try to guess my mother. Boy, does she make him toe the mark.
You mean your father's afraid of your mother?
Oh, everybody's afraid of my mother. Boy, you know, when I was born, the stork left me a block away from the house. It's a good thing I knew the address. Hey, you know, while I'm here, maybe I ought to get something for my boss, Mr. Benny.
Well, how about this silk shirt?
Oh, yeah, that's nice. That'll be fine.
Hi, Dennis.
Oh, hello, Mr. Benny.
Hi, you doing your Christmas shopping, eh?
Yeah, I was just going to buy you a gift, and you had to walk up and spoil the whole thing.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know you were buying me a gift.
Now you'll have to close your eyes.
All right. Like this?
Okay, mister, you can wrap it up now. And put it in a shoebox so you won't know it's a shirt.
Can I open my eyes now?
Yeah. Boy, that was a close one.
Yeah, it certainly was. Look, Dennis, you bought me the shirt, did you? Now, why don't you go home before you get lost?
Oh, I can't. I'm working here.
In this store?
Yeah, they have me singing Christmas songs.
Here?
I can't live on what you pay me. Oh, gosh, I gotta go now. I gotta sing one song.
Can't live on what I pay him.
Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer had a very shiny nose, and if you ever saw it, you would even say it glowed. All of the other reindeer used to laugh and call him names. They never let poor Rudolph join in any reindeer games. Then one foggy Christmas Eve, Santa came to say, Rudolph, with your nose so bright, won't you guide my sleigh tonight? Then how the reindeer loved him as they shouted out with glee, Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer, you'll go down in history. Then one foggy Christmas Eve, Santa came sun nose so bright, won't you guide my sleigh tonight? Then how the reindeer loved him as they shouted out with glee. Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer, you'll go down in history.
Yeah, I can understand them wanting Dennis to sing here. Voice is so beautiful. Now, let's see what else do I have to get.
Jack!
Yes?
Not you. I'm talking to the elevator starter. You're not the only Jack in the world, you know.
I never ran into a guy like... Hey, he's right. I'm not the only Jack in the world. That gift I bought for Don Wilson. When I signed the card, I only put down my first name. Gee, $40 gift, an elevator starter can get the credit for it. I better change that gift. Oh, clerk. Clerk.
Yes, sir. What can I do? You again.
Yes. Yes, look at, I want to change that card again. I'm sorry.
Oh, no. No. First you buy the gift, then you write the card, then I wrap the gift, then you change the card, then I unwrap the gift, then you rewrite the card. Then I wrap the gift again, and now you want to write another card.
I can't help it. You'll have to unwrap the gift. I'm sorry.
I already sent it down to the delivery room.
Well, then you'll have to go down and get it.
All right, I'll go get it. I haven't run into anybody like you in 20 years. Oh, why did the governor have to give me that pardon?
I don't know about that. Just bring me my pass.
I'll get it! Go with the red-nosed reindeer. Where where he goes.
Well, sir, what can I do for you?
Oh, I'm trying to get a gift for my boss.
Your boss, eh? Well, what would you like?
Well, I don't know. Maybe you got a suggestion.
Well, what kind of man is your boss? Is he the athletic type?
No.
Is he the intellectual type?
Well, no.
The executive type?
No.
Well, perhaps the outdoor type?
No.
Well, perhaps he's the playboy type.
No.
I'm afraid there isn't very much left.
That's him. Here you are, mister. I found it. I found the package. Now, please, let's not have any more trouble.
No.
With all that beautiful wrapping and everything. Yeah. All right, you got the card ready?
Yes. And listen, I changed the poem. I want you to hear it.
All right.
To Don, your pear-shaped tones many announcers ape, but no one can ape your pear-shaped shape. Isn't that clever?
Yeah, clever.
I think so. I think so, too.
Attention, please. Santa and his reindeer have just arrived in the workshop. All you children come up, tell him what you want for Christmas, and get your lollipops.
Peppermint, the same as last year. That's funny. That card I made out to Don Wilson, I can't find it. I wonder where it is. Oh, Clerk. Clerk.
Now what? Now what?
Look, I made out a card here from Mr. Wilson, and I can't find it.
Don't worry about it. I found the card. I put it in the package. I wrapped it as a gift, and I sent it down to the delivery room.
But I forgot to sign it.
Please, you're creating a scene.
I guess you're right. The customer is always right. And this jerk is a customer.
Well, let's see. Now I gotta get something for my sister Florence. I think I'll get some lingerie for her. All right. Pardon me, would you wait on me, please?
Why not? Your money's as good as anybody.
Well, I'd like to see something nice in silk lingerie.
Certainly. What size do you wear?
It's not for me.
Oh.
It's for my sister.
Oh, I see.
I want size 34.
34, okay.
Yeah.
Let's see. 34. Yeah, the whole box of...
Oh, this, huh?
Yeah.
That's all that's nice lingerie, isn't
Yeah.
it? Hello, will you lay it out? Just lay out the lingerie, please.
Just a minute.
I mean, why are you wearing gloves?
Oh, touching that stuff with my bare hands makes me a nervous wreck.
What?
Especially the black ones.
Well, look, I haven't got all day. Look, just show me size 34, some lingerie.
34. Oh, here's a nice little garment. A genuine pure silk 90.
Uh-huh. Well, this might be nice.
That's
Let's
pretty.
see. Let's see this. Oh, what are these loops for here?
The loops?
Yeah, the loops. Now, what are the loops for here?
Oh, when you go to bed, you hook them over your toes so the nightgown don't creak up on you.
Well, how much is this one?
It's $15.
All right, I'll take this.
Oh, thank
right
you,
here.
sir. Yes, sir.
$15.
Yes, sir.
There you are, 10, there's 5. Now, I want you to send it to my sister,
Your sister.
Florence. Florence Fenchel.
Florence Fenchel.
Chicago, Illinois.
Chicago. Does she live near the Louvre?
Yeah, the Duluth. She's about 3 blocks from Duluth.
Oh, I'm
Yeah, here it is.
Oh,
There's
thanks.
her address. Now, send her a nice Christmas gift, will
Yes,
you?
sir. How do
Yeah.
you like that? Right near the Louvre.
Well, let's see. Oh, I mustn't forget to sign Don's card now.
I went down to the delivery room and I looked all over and I didn't find it. They already sent it out to the truck. So I went out to the truck and I found it. Here it is. Sign the card. Yeah, I know. Rap, but It's $40.
Yeah, $40, that's right.
That's right.
When I pay $40, I want it to be right.
Right. $40.
Let's see. Where Rochester gone?
Yeah, boss.
Oh, well, Rochester, I think I'm through here for today. We can go home now, huh?
Oh, do we have to go right now, boss?
Why, you're through shopping, aren't you?
Well, I got you a gift, but I think I want to get you something a little better.
A little better gift for me? Oh, for heaven's sakes, Rochester, that's ridiculous. It isn't what a gift costs. You know, it's the spirit in which it's given.
I guess you're right.
Well, of course I'm right. What's the difference what you spend for a present? It's the thought that counts. What's the difference? It's $50 or $40 or $1.98. It doesn't... Rochester, wait right here. I'll be right back. Oh, clerk.
Don't tell me you're gonna change the card again.
No, that's not important. I want to change the wallet.
What?
Instead of the $40 wallet, I want the one for $1.98. Nice young fellow. Let's see, $1.98 from $40. I got some change. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed the show. I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas. And I'll see you next week for Lipton Tea.